kind of
Hello,
embarrassing.
everyone. Hello, everyone,
Janice,
and
call
welcome to a super exciting and special episode of a number of different podcasts. This is a very special collaboration episode that we have going on with a number of our good friends. I, myself, and my compatriots, I am Daniel from the Black Tower podcast, and I will let my other two gentlemen friends introduce themselves as well, also from the Black Tower podcast.
I am Andrew. If you didn't already know that, I might look a little different, may not recognize me, but if you were there for the Cyber Smile podcast-a-thon 24-hour stream that Twatcast did, as I'm pretty sure everybody was, and if you weren't, you were wrong. Yeah, you know
Just
what happened. But as Daniel has already said like 5 times, I am also from the Black Tower podcast.
Oh, hi. I'm Josh. You may recognize me from such podcasts as the Black Tower podcast.
And that's it. And today, as stated, we are doing a wonderful, amazing collaboration with some other people. So you're going to see that there are many people around this screen right now doing things.
Well, not right now.
They're all being very respectful and quiet, but they will be here in just a moment. But before we get to that, because it is very important that while people are introducing themselves, some of us have spoilers in our names. So we're going to have to slap on some protection and make 100% sure that everyone's cool and protected. Because that's how we do things here at the Black Tower. Wrap
true.
it before you intro it.
That isn't.
That's a great catch. Great catch.
That's
Wow.
good. I like
I will
it.
say
And word
this.
to live by.
If you're listening and or watching at this particular moment in time, firstly, I commend you. You've made a very good life choice. Now,
My
I
hair's
wish
off to you.
for you to I wish for you to evaluate this decision carefully, because if you've read the full series of The Wheel of Time, please proceed at your own leisure. However, if you've not completed the series, the full series, which may or may not include a new spring, it is part of the series. It is important, but I don't think we're going to be diving into that much. However, the warning will go throughout the entire bulk of the series. There will be some spoilers. Now, there may be some spoilers from book 1. There may be some spoilers from book 14. So just take this as if it were schmear over your bagel. You cover the entire bagel, and we are covering the entire series. You have been
Because this is an everything bagel with a full layer of schmear.
Yeah, the best for me. But
Andrew,
like Daniel
could you
said,
please introduce our cohorts, compatriots, companions, and friends?
yes, I can. So, we have guests from 3 distinct platforms, but we don't just have 3 guests. We actually have
No.
5,
Because we
There's
go big or go home.
8 of us on this episode. And you're about to see their faces, I guess, right about now. So,
right about now,
to start off these
the
introductions,
Fun Show Brothers.
you might have seen them on the Twatcast
Your use of
Twatcast
sight,
podcast-a-thon. You might have also seen some of their expertly crafted political ads for mayor for Amon's Field. But it is the way of the Leafs. Ryan and Dan, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Well, thank you, Andrew. Yes, this is Ryan. I am Ryan's brother Dan, and we are the Way of the Leaf. We do a YouTube channel and podcast that is a show based on a reread of The Wheel of Time. We are mostly spoiler free. We have a first time reader that joins us every episode, and we kind of talk through our chapters. And then we have a segment afterwards called Tavern Talk, where lips are loose and rumors fly like storks at Beltane.
Oh!
Wow! So, and we're 2 gorgeous puppets, and that's about it, I think.
Sweet.
Oh, yeah,
I like it.
we're regularly live streaming our first time reader chats. The live streams are getting pretty out of hand. They're fun.
We are organized chaos. Well, but take away the organized.
Yes.
No, and this is great. And if we don't scare everyone away, we can imagine everyone we're on this screen is going to be on our show at some point because we're going to be having guests soon.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
At some point in time, I feel like we're going to need to see if puppets can channel. I'm just saying.
Do you have the spark?
Is this a situation where it's like the Force or magic in Doctor Strange, where you only think you can't channel if you don't have hands?
I'm actually,
but you can actually channel.
I'm pretty confident that puppets themselves can be an Angreal.
Yeah.
Which one
happy
of
with
you is
this.
the little fat man with the sword?
This is already offensive.
Yeah, cyberbullying.
What is
Cyberbullying.
happening? You ask us on your show. I'm working on the belly, all right? I'm working on it.
Oh my god, you guys are awesome.
All right.
Thank you so much for being
Yeah,
here.
thanks for having us on.
Thank
You guys are great.
So our
We'll be here all
welcome.
week.
The
We'll be
way
here
I
all
believe.
week.
our next guest, see him right over here because I can actually point straight to him. But if you don't recognize the face, you should think back and you can recognize him from his outstanding debut appearance on the Village Green in Amon's Field, where he was his co-star, some guy named Matt Matram, some minor person that nobody cares about, was
A tertiary
escorting him.
character, really.
But it is, of course, the Badger Reborn with his amazing YouTube videos, and he is here. Go ahead and say hi.
Yay.
Hello, yes, I'm the Badger Reborn and loose today on the green as the Reborn variety. Yeah, so I'm not a podcaster normally. This is actually the first time I've done any type of podcasting whatsoever, so I'm a little bit nervous, but I'm super excited to be here with all of you guys.
Nice.
We're excited to have you.
What kind of stuff do you deal with in your YouTube videos?
Yeah, Wheel of Time of just kind of random variety of book or show things that I'm talking about. And like I said, I haven't really done any collaborations, but I'm looking forward to doing more of those as well.
Nice.
And you have a Patreon, right?
I do have a Patreon, yeah. So if you got some money to burn and
We
you'd
would
like to
really
support me,
like to give you our money.
I'll take it.
There you go.
Yes.
Since when do badgers use money?
This is the Badger Reborn. He's set
I
apart
can't-
from all
Well,
of the
yeah.
Badgers.
That
I
makes
can't wait
sense.
to get the official story, though, from the man himself.
My human skin somehow.
I'm sorry, did you just introduce the existence of badger people to compete with the lizard people?
I was thinking of
Why?
onesies. You know how people
The
wear like
elephant,
animal onesies?
Gleemen and the Badge Fin?
It's now canon.
I
Yeah.
was thinking he was a badger wearing a human-styled onesie.
Or is that just the ale badge and the eel badge? They're just the ale fin and the eel fin, but they're badgers.
Works.
Badger.
Or I'm actually picturing Mario when he would wear that raccoon thing.
Tanuki!
Oh yeah, from Mario
But a
3.
badger.
Yes.
But a Badger.
But a
Classic.
badger.
Okay.
I like it.
Thank
But-
you so much
And
for being
last
here.
but not least,
Our last, yeah, I was literally about to say that exact phrase. But
I'm
These
in
lovely-
your brain.
lovely gentlemen down here, Vance and
You
Drew,
don't
are
have nearly
Gleemen.
enough shielding on your brain anymore. I can get in there too easy.
Spirit Wards. I'm
I'll-
telling
I'll-
you, Andrew.
Again, I'll take care of you in October.
Yeah, that's what
That
she
sounded weird. That's not what I meant.
That's what she
But
said.
anyway, we have our very own Gleeman here, Vance and Drew. Tell the people what they want to hear.
Yay, Gleeman!
Drew, you want to take it or should I
Gleemen,
take
a
a
it?
Badger
Gleeman?
and
Do we
a
have-
Gleemen.
Do we have fireworks too?
Plural.
Wait, we've got a badger on the green. We've got two Gleemen.
Eat
This
fire!
is gonna be the best winter night ever.
I want to see you eat fire.
You know, I feel like that's what people said about. Sorry, not to like take away from the intro here. I feel
Does
like
this
that's what
make
people said
Josh
about
narg?
2020. This is gonna be the best year
Yes.
ever, and it was winter night.
Here we go. Yep,
Yeah.
that's exactly what happened.
All right,
It's
go,
just
Gleeman.
all of those memes about like what I thought 2020 was gonna be and what 2020 actually was. It's just a Gleemen, fireworks, and good stuff, and then it's just Trollocs.
Just
Coming in your
Trollocs.
door.
Just Trollocs.
A
Kicking
burnt
your
down
door
Beltane pole. Yeah.
All right, Vance and Drew, go ahead.
All right. Hey, everybody. I'm Vance from the Gleemen, a YouTube channel where Drew, my buddy Drew, and I discuss the Wheel of Time. We have a weekly Wednesday long-form video we do where it's both of us talking, kind of podcast style. We try to keep it under an hour. And then we've just recently debuted shorter videos that I like to call Watt Quickies. And they're coming out on Monday and Friday to kind of fill in the week in between. So I hope everyone looks forward to those. Drew, do you have anything to add?
I don't think
No?
so.
You
Yeah,
good?
I'm Drew, and I can proudly say I pulled Vance forward through the 14 books of the Wheel of Time. So that's my life accomplishment.
It only took him 13 years.
It only took what, Vance?
That only took you 13 years.
That's one
So-
per book?
When did you finally
Just
let
about.
Vance out of the basement?
Keep thinking, Daniel.
All right. Well, you guys have kind of seen something like this before. Well, not seen, you've heard it, because we've done a YouTuber panel before audio only, but this one
True.
is including video, and if you can't find video
Wait, we're on screen right now?
Yeah. What?
Yeah, I hope you got camera ready.
I didn't. I definitely didn't. I actually shaved last night. I don't know if you...
You all shaved recently.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't feel like it. It feels like it comes together. very well.
Wrong location. Wrong location,
Yeah.
Andrew.
How did you know about that?
You just got yourself the lawnmower too, didn't you?
So,
Pretty
it
bad.
looks like
Computers.
Thank you, Manscaped,
Has someone
for
been ordering
not
from
actually sponsoring
Manscaping?
this.
Save your junk.
But if
But
you'd
anyway.
like to sponsor it,
Okay. I got a whole dome to shave now,
I can
so.
guarantee Manscaping, if you want to sponsor us, I will do a video
no, whoa.
Wow. Whoa.
of me using your product on my face. Calm down. How about you?
Face, okay.
Our viewership can't handle that, okay?
I can't really
That's
speak for
a little
Ryan,
much.
but we use lint rollers.
Yeah, there you go. That sounds like it's painful.
Manscaped, there's your next audience right there.
Right there.
It's like
the
cat's
puppet
tongue.
crowd.
Whoa.
The puppet crowd.
All right, I'm sorry.
That might have been the line from the night.
Anyway,
These lint rollers. It's
you've seen this kind of thing before. We've got 8 people on. We have to structure it. There's no way that even the 3 of us by ourselves, normally from the Black Tower, can keep things in an orderly fashion. But we have to here because everybody's time is valuable. And if we're perfectly honest, we are far behind time already. So let's get into the content.
Hey, Andrew, I'm Joe from the Twatcast. Guess how much Wheel of Time you've talked about tonight?
None.
0 minutes.
Yeah. So anyway, this is a round robin style-esque panel where each person is going to say their piece about the overarching topic, which hopefully isn't my inability to say English. And then after that, we'll take about 10 minutes as a group to talk about their topic, our reactions to it, our thoughts on it, that kind of stuff. It's at that point that you might see your boy Andrew get a little more interrupty because I am kind of functioning a bit as the moderator for this, and I do need to try to keep us on time and on schedule for the collective benefit of all of us. But I'm going to try to be as nice as I possibly can about it.
The
and
greater
I,
good.
I don't foresee it being a serious issue. But with that, you need to know what the panel's about. We're going to let Daniel, this guy right here, introduce the topic.
So the topic for tonight is effectively unpopular opinions. That's going to be our topic for the evening. It's sort of everyone's takes on why some things are unpopular, what their favorite unpopular opinions are, ones that they think shouldn't be unpopular opinions, but are on the likes of Twitter or Instagram or wherever you like. Basically, it's very free, but again, the overall topic is going to be unpopular opinions in Wheel of Time, and maybe a little bit of why.
Yep. And so we're going to kick this off and put the puppet himself on the spotlight. Ryan, I hear you have an unpopular opinion, at least one that you would be willing to discuss.
Ooh.
I love the caveat. Thank you for the caveat. I do agree. Hey guys, I appreciate being asked to go first. I see that as a badge of honor, a badger of honor.
Badger Reborn honor.
All right, so my popular opinion, you might have heard, I've been pushing this out basically anytime I get in front of a camera. But
Are you allowed to do that?
yeah,
on camera?
I'm going. Dark Friends. I want the Amazon show to remove the name Dark Friends and change it. Dark Friends is like the silliest name for a bad guy I've ever heard. I read a sentence. I was going through and I heard, I was listening to the Audible book, and he goes, there were Trollocs and Myrddraal and Dark Friends, and it just killed it for me. If they come up with something cooler, I'd be very happy. And I'm ready. I'm ready for it. Bring it.
Nice.
All right. So,
Thank you,
Josh,
thank
what do you think?
Ah, God. You know, so at first I wanted to hate it. I wanted to be like, bro, they're Dark Friends. Come on. But then you said there were Trollocs and Myrddraal and Dark Friends. And I'm immediately going, oh shit, that is kind of lame. So, I mean, if this were a change my mind segment, I'm right there. I'm teetering on the edge. I think, what else are you gonna call them though? That's where my counterpoint would be. You would have to come up with something better to call them. At the moment, they're friends of the shadow. Shadows are dark.
I feel like you literally already came up with a better name.
Yes.
In your response.
Yes. Yes, exactly. Anything is better. Anything is better. Compatriots of the shadow. Dark vision. Dark
interns.
Anything. Just anything.
Dark interns.
Dark interns.
Shadow knots.
What do you think, Vance?
All right, so I'm in agreement. I mean, I think it works fine for the book. I have no issues with it in the context of the book, but just like Ryan was saying, I went through the audiobooks as I finished the series, and yeah, Dark Friends kind of kills the mood when it comes up after Trollocs, Myrddraal, Dragcar, Dreadlord, anything. So I'm actually in agreement with this unpopular opinion. I think it's a little hokey. It could be one of those things that make the show seem campy if they stick to it. One of my favorites that I kind of came up with was the shadow cast. So think of it like casting actors in a play, right? So just call them the shadow cast, as people who cast themselves into shadow.
Someone
That's
just got their new podcast name.
Right?
Boom. Someone did, yeah.
Oh, God. No, for real. That would be a badass
The shadow
podcast.
cast Gleemen.
Yeah, but no one will be able to find it.
Hey!
Oh!
No, they just have to go to the dark web.
Oh!
It's pun
Can I
time
just
already.
say, you all are my favorite people, but I hate you so much right now.
So yeah, for the sake of time, since I'm in agreement, let's just move on to the next panelist.
All right. Badger, it's your turn.
Yeah, I gotta disagree with you guys.
There it is.
I
This
Badger.
is why we do panels.
think it's pretty strong. You gotta think about the Dark Friends go to socials together. They're pals. they hang out. And you guys are going to think the risk, if they change the name, there's a maybe 50% chance it's better, but there's also the 50% chance they change it to something worse. So what if they change it to, like, I'd submit Dark Pals?
Dark Pals.
The children's spinoff show.
Yeah, so I think keeping it with, like, a solid option that doesn't normally get criticism and, incorporates their pal aspect.
That is the first time I've
In book or in real life?
Both.
Okay.
All right. Well, I guess I'm up next. Not I guess. I know. But, I mean, I'm kind of like... So the part of me that wants them to stay as true to the books as possible says, no, don't change it. But much like Josh, when you were like, there were Trollocs and Myrddraal and Dark Friends, it's like...
Oh my.
Yeah, that sounds incredibly stupid. Like, Yeah. So I mean, I can't think of an alternate name for them. I mean, yeah, I never tried to. I never really thought about it. It's just they were dark friends. So like, I guess if I had to make the decision at the end of the day, because society really likes cool names, I would say for the TV show to change it, but maybe work the name change into the series somehow, where somebody cognizantly is like, this just sounds dumb and campy. Let's change it. Let's rebrand.
Ah, yes. Do you remember the old days when we used to call them dark friends? Quaint time.
And the
Now
age of
we call
legend.
them the
I could see-
Shadow Cast because
Now
it's
they're
better.
pals.
Now they're pals.
Now
I
we
can
call
even see,
them
like,
Now we call them
Grandpa,
Neopets for some reason.
nobody's called them dark friends for 30 years, Grandpa. Like, get with the times, okay? Not
What about you,
that's
man?
not PC.
Okay, Boomer. Dark Friends has been offensive for years.
Yeah, get a new haircut and all of a sudden a new attitude.
I think one of the names from the Gleemen is Shadow Soul. What about that for Dark Friends?
Was it?
What?
Shadow Souled.
Ooh, yeah.
Well, the IEL call them the Shadow Soul, don't they?
I thought
I think
that
it's
was
the name
They
of
were
Gleemen.
not mistaken.
I feel like there's a lot of
That's
different
right, yeah,
ways they're called.
It's used for
Off
something.
the top of my head, because I'm a pup, I can't remember, but I feel like they've referenced different names, and they're way cooler than Dark
Yeah.
Friends. So I just say pick one of them. Any one in the book will be better.
Yeah, just like
Fair.
the Dark Companions or something
Lan
like that.
has some of the coolest names. He names everything the coolest way. Like just pick an Lannerism and go with it.
There you go.
a
That is true.
Lannerism.
A Lannerism.
A Lannerism.
But speaking of somebody with 3 letters in their first name, the next to get to talk is Dan.
You mean Don?
Don.
On.
The dish soap.
Wait, Don, is your last name Almandragora?
Oh my gosh, I thought we weren't doing this right now.
God, you just outed him on.
I didn't
Oh,
mean,
dude.
Way
dude.
to dox, bro.
Third cousin to the second sister to the last
Here.
child of the last king.
I'm gonna just bail fire the last 5 seconds.
Cool, we're good.
So I think I come up with a solution, gentlemen. So I too disagree with Dark Friend being a spooky name. But we have with Mirdraw, we have Half Man, we have Fade, we have the Eyeless, we have all kinds of cool nicknames. Even for the Dark One, we have Shepherd of the Night, Father of Lies. These things. But with our main bad guys, we have Trollocs, Mirdraw, Drakkar. These are all old tongue names. And so what I think that we should do is have an old tongue name that sounds guttural and aggressive. It's like, oh yeah, these are Thoclales. They're dark friends or whatever. And then we just refer to them as a sinister name instead of like a dark friend. Hey.
Well,
Yeah, guys,
do you
there
know
are
that
Trollocs and Murdral and
Dark Friend does actually have an old tongue translation?
So yeah, we should use that then.
What do you know?
Afa on Shadar.
Are you kidding me?
I'm not kidding you.
Are you looking it up?
I did look it up.
That would be
Josh
people
is a
of the
huge
dark,
nerd.
or people of the shadow.
Yeah.
Well, that
How
sounds
dare you
way
look
cooler.
educated
That
in
sounds
front of us.
way
I mean, that
cooler.
even People of the Shadow sounds way cooler.
Well, and that even gives like so Shadar Haran. Shadow Haran. What's Haran?
Pal.
Hand of the
Now you take all of the bite out of Shadar Haran.
I'm sorry.
This
Are
is
you kidding
posing.
me? Are you kidding me? Josh, I wanna throw this out there. Which one's scarier? An 8-foot tall Murdral who can use the true power, whose name is Shaidar Haran. Or an 8-foot tall Murdral who can use the true power, whose name is Shadow Pal. I'm pretty sure I'm more scared of Shadow Pal.
The name's
I don't know
Pal.
what his intentions are.
Just introduces
so-
himself like James
I'm
Bond.
so
clear.
confused.
Shadow Pal.
He just introduces himself
not
like
sh-
James Bond. The name's Pal. Shadow Pal.
I'm on board. I'm on board with changing the Dark Friend moniker to something way more badass.
God, I found my
Fair.
people. This is great.
So Daniel, now is actually your turn.
Excuse me, it's Daniel.
Oh, Daniel.
I'm sorry, I had to do it one more time. It's over now. It's the rule of three, guys. Rule of three. But actually, on topic, I totally agree with you in terms of the fact that, again, Dark Friend sounds a little trite next to a lot of the different other names. But I will actually throw out there that, to me, that gives it more character. And by character, I don't mean like it makes it cutesy, it makes it whatever, but the in the Age of Legends and whatnot was when they went ahead and gave all of these things names. Or, in my humble opinion, I'm pretty sure who actually gave them their names was Agenor, as he was making them. He was like, I get to name this bitch because I made it. And so he gave them cool names. But just like when you give them the opportunity to name things in real life, people come up with stupid names for things. Like Bodie McBoatface, or David Plowy, or things like that. And so I am not surprised. That's what actually stuck. And that to me is really realistic. And it's, again, one of the reasons that I don't necessarily think that Robert Jordan intended for that to be true. And I do feel like I am giving it a little bit of a justification. But at the same time, if real world experience lends itself to book, thought process and whatnot, there is no way humans on any kind of grand scale would actually give Dark Friends a good name. It would absolutely be shit every time.
That's a valid point.
Because remember, guys, a person is smart. People are stupid.
So what does that make us?
Puppets?
There are 8 of us, and we're all on individual screens. So it's 8 smart people.
I think he specifically refers to puppet kind now.
Doing stupid things.
We're transcendent.
Correct.
All right. Well, Drew, what do you think about it?
Yeah, so my knee-jerk reaction is that I've never wanted to punch a puppet before.
Oh.
No. Okay, so you almost convinced me. Like I was right there with you.
Shock and awe.
Until Daniel talked, and I hate to agree with him, but
The first time I've ever heard that.
people make
It's the first time that's ever happened. I don't even know how to deal with this right now.
People changed their mind.
Daniel's like loyal, speaking at the great stump for the first time.
exactly.
Daniel can't change his own mind.
Hasty humans always giving things stupid names.
Well, go ahead, Drew.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
Hey,
no.
Of
That's
all
a
the
good
ways
picture.
to freeze, though. Wow, look at that. What a handsome
Look
guy.
at that.
He is handsome.
God.
Look
Well,
at
I
him.
mean, if you go against me, that's what happens.
Oh,
The powder just rips you away.
He used the power to DDoS Drew.
No,
We're
okay.
back.
There you go. You're
Oh,
back.
Drew's back.
all right,
Drew's
he's back. He's back.
So my take
back?
on this is I disagree with Daniel. I disagree with why Daniel is right. But people tend to euphemize things. The human instinct is to make something more comfortable. And most of the Shadow Spawn are monsters that no one short of the Borderlands really see in their lifetime. So their names are not common parlance for at least 1,500 years. I mean, how long ago was the Trolloc Wars? So since the Trolloc Wars, most of the Westlands haven't dealt with Shadow Spawn. So they have no reason to make up new names. But one of the quirks of linguistics is that the most annoyingly irregular parts are the most common parts of language. Because everybody's got a great way to say he, and so you have 15 different ways to say the most common things. And so I think Dark Friends, the most common part of the shadow people will encounter, that's definitely going to have the lamest and most comfortable name. Because who wants to call something a horrifying name and
Yeah.
scare themselves more. You know, they're gonna put some soft cuddlies around a scary concept.
Well, and as we learned from,
I think that's
like,
I
Harry
actually really
Potter-
like that because there's
Yeah.
an additional thing there of like, if you have to fight a dark friend, you want it to be less scary.
Oh yeah.
You don't give a shit about a Trolloc. It doesn't matter. It's never coming into your zeitgeist. Therefore, don't worry about it. It can be as scary as you want to make it in your head. Scare
Right.
your children with it. But I like
Exactly.
literally, Drew is a magician with words. That was fantastic. And he said all of the things that I wanted to say, just smarter and better and with good language.
All right.
Beautiful. Yeah.
So let's do this.
Well done, well done.
Let's take a show of hands. Put your hand up where we can see it. If
Wait,
you...
can I throw one more thing in?
Oh yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
If we change the name, I just want them called Shadowed.
Shadowed. That's great.
I like that. The shadowed.
Before we vote, I just want to point out I actually think Drew said the opposite of Daniel. Daniel said Agenor named him, and then Drew said it was a folkloric kind of alteration of the name over time.
Well, Daniel was talking
Right.
about Agenor naming the Trollocs and the Murjol and the Jakar, and the
Correct.
things he actually created.
Yeah,
So
I have
that's
to,
why they have cool, like the cool names.
But not the dark
My bad.
friends.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
No,
No,
yeah,
you're
he
dark.
was hanging out with his
so you
black
think
metal
it's kind
buddies.
of like the common
Yeah.
name that just kind of developed over time by
Yes.
the people.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I misheard that.
Colloquialism.
My bad. Let's take that
The
out. I misheard that.
colloquialism.
As opposed to Agenor sitting around with his black metal buddies naming bands.
Yeah, exactly. You
Agenor
and
clearly
let's be
loved
honest,
metal.
you know for a fact that Agenor was sitting there after he made these absolutely failed experiments of Trollocs, and he was tired and he was done with everything, and he's just sitting in the blight, and he's just like near Sheol Gul, and he's just like, guys, we need to come up with what we're gonna call these absolute like horrors that I've made. And he's talking to the other Forsaken back when they're still friends. And he's like, what do we call them? And you know for a fact, Asmodean comes up. And he goes, that one right there? That's Goaty McGoatface. And they all laugh.
All right. So let's get a visual representation of how we feel. So if you agree with Ryan and think that at least the name Dark Friend should be changed in the TV series, let's go ahead and throw up that hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. Drew, was that like a kind of?
Yeah, it's
like
a
point two.
hesitant.
Point two hands.
All right. And now if you disagree, go ahead. Just put that hand up. Think that they should keep Dark Friends in the series.
I still
Josh, that
respect
is a
you,
cop
Brian.
out. That is a
I
cop
was
out.
really emotional. I really felt like I had momentum there, and then just right at the very end, it just the rug was pulled out.
Yeah. Me and
It's
Dan,
okay.
man.
I think
Dawn.
that was just the luck of the draw on how we ended up speaking. Don't worry, there will be other chances where you'll be that for someone else.
Yes.
And
But
for
they're
everybody that
unpopular.
listens, if you're listening on YouTube and down in the comment section for everything that we talk about, definitely
Share
come out and be
us
like, hey, get rid of it, keep it. Why? Fight amongst yourself. The strong will survive and the others will perish. But you know, it's war. It's a
Thunderdome,
YouTube
two
comment
men
section.
go in, one man comes out.
2 men enter, 1 man leaves.
And
Are
I
we
think Ryan-
providing the pool cues?
I think Ryan should be proud. It was an
I
unpopular
don't have
opinion,
enough of them, Drew.
Yeah,
but now it's 4-4. That's not bad.
yeah, that's not bad.
That's true. It was a split vote.
That it was, which was only
Well,
fair to be split because
I gave it 0.2, 0.8, so technically we did decide.
What is this?
Okay,
The
for me
Romanian
was-
judge in gymnastics here?
All right. Well, bringing us our
I'm sorry,
next
Drew.
unpopular opinion is Josh. So, Josh, what is your unpopular opinion that you would like to discuss? Looks like you lost video again.
I was about to say, so my video may be frozen. Can you guys still hear me?
Yes.
It
Yep,
is, but
and you
it's
look great.
it's a good little video. You've got a nice little picture.
I
Okay.
can finally see the
Yeah.
Mountain Dew
As-
sign more than your face, which is good.
We
As
got
long-
a new thumbnail now.
As long as I'm represented well by my shit internet connection, I'm okay.
Your shin internet connection.
Hey!
Hey,
I
I'm
camera
so
like you can
sorry.
see me. but you can't see me, so enjoy my picture whilst I pontificate on my unpopular opinion. So my unpopular opinion goes as follows, and I say this with all the love in my heart. Elaine and Gawain are the same level of all like personality traits.
Before he finishes that, can you just cut his audio too?
Yeah, we'll cut it in post. We'll just cut it in post.
Don't finish your thought here.
Okay, with Elaine and Gawain, every time I read portions of the story from their point of view, I have two thoughts. One is, I really just want to be okay with you. I really just want to be able to give you the benefit of the doubt here. And that's one feeling. The other feeling is oh my God, shut up. You are so dumb. And Elaine is incredibly intelligent. She goes around and does all the stuff to get the queendom, and she becomes the queen of Andor, and everything's great. Sorry, spoilers. But you didn't see it coming. Come on.
We gave the spoiler warning, so.
And then Gawain, but the thing is that she does some incredibly stupid things along the way. Some really dumb things along the way. And you're just you're torn between facepalm and, oh, come on! And it's the same with Gawain. The only difference between them is that Elaine is given more screen time, so you have more emotional connection with her than you do with Gawain. Other than that, same character.
All right. Vance, what say ye?
I'm in a little bit about a 50-50 split here. I think they're similar because they're both spoiled royal brats, right? They have some entitlement to their character, but I think that's intentional. They're written that way to represent the fact that they're nobility.
Right.
They grew up relatively sheltered, and it's only within the last 2 years of their life that they're outside of their sheltered lifestyle. So I think it's easy to see that they each have these similar personality traits because that's just the way they are brought up. That said, I don't think I agree that they're the same character. I think Elaine is significantly smarter than Gawain, but I do also agree she makes some questionable choices. But I think that's more reflective of her immaturity than her intelligence. Same with Gawain, actually. I don't think Gawain's actually stupid. I think he makes every choice he makes out of this immature, young, toxic, masculine attitude that he has from all the stories he's read and from all of the perceptions he has of his male role models. That whether or not they actually do anything for him like that, if that makes any sense. So I don't think they're the same characters, but I do see how you can at least construct your argument that way. So,
all right. Badger, what do you think?
I think Vance is being too nice. They're definitely
Burn the Gleemen.
So I do think what Vance said, that they have similar personality characteristics. That's definitely true. They have some similar personality characteristics because of the way they were raised. But I think there's one huge difference between them, which is that Elaine has purpose, and Gawain does not have purpose.
Yeah.
So, Gawain has purpose at the beginning of the series. It starts off with just kind of knowing that he's going to be there for Elaine and be her protector for her whole life, and be like the general of the Andoran armies. And then that completely goes away and is replaced by kind of wanting to be with Egwene, wanting to be with Elaine, not knowing what to do. Ultimately makes the wrong choice, in my opinion. But Elaine always is very purposeful. She knows she wants to become an Aes Sedai. She wants to come back to Andor and become the queen. And then she has, other purposes along the way. She wants to go find the Bowl of the Winds, etc. And she does all of those things. She goes on missions. She comes back to Andor. She unites everyone, becomes the queen. She leads the armies to the last battle. Meanwhile, Gawain's just kind of floundering the whole time. So I think while they start off similarly, Elaine really sticks to her purposes, and Gawain just loses his completely.
I do also like how you used the word purpose, And I think everyone here understood what you meant, and then you talked about it in that avenue. I just also liked how Gawain having no purpose just has another tangent off to the side here of he could just not be a character. Just he has no purpose. Just in the story, just as a general human being. Like all of that I loved. I loved the extra little piece there.
Yeah.
I actually think Gawain does have a purpose in this story, which I said this in a video and someone said it was poetic, so I'm going to say it as often as I can. He has an uncompleted arc to his life, and I think that's very realistic. A lot of people have uncompleted arcs to their life.
I like that.
I could see it.
I think that is poetic. I agree with you.
I agree.
So, yeah, I mean, I would agree. That was it, right, Badger?
That was it. Yep.
Okay. I would agree that they're the same. They're pretty much the same character when you meet them, but you can understand the reason behind it. I'm a big proponent of the idea that if you read from page 1 of Eye of the World through the last page of A Memory of Light, including New Spring, and all you glean from the series is exactly what's written on the pages,
order.
even if you read cover to cover, including glossaries, which is how you find out certain people murdered certain people. I mean, then you're not going to get the entire story. I mean, a character has a backstory for a reason. It's supposed to help you understand why they are the way they are, what happened to them in the past, and you have to actually critically think about it, which a lot of people do, but there are plenty of people that don't. So you have these two kids that were born into the same family, into royalty, into the Andorran palace in Camelin, and they grow up very much in the same way. Because for Gawain to be an effective what's the title he has for his role with Elaine? Yeah. To be an appropriate first prince of the sword, he needs to know and expect, at least generally, what a queen is going to be doing, what a princess is going to be doing, or heir, daughter heir rather, is going to be doing. So they're going to be in a lot of the same classes. They're going to learn a lot of the same things, and then he's going to have to go outside and play with his sword and make that the only thing he's ever good at in his entire life. So it makes sense for them to be the same because they're always around each other. They have the same upbringing, the same life. Everything's pretty much the same for them, so they're going to be relatively similar for the most part. But when they finally get separated from each other, they have vastly different experiences, and Elaine has the fortune to fall in with the better group of friends, the better group of compatriots, where Gawain doesn't. Gawain very, very early on finds himself in charge of a whole group of younger people that were at once going to train to be warders and now don't know if they're ever going to be warders, but they're still an armed faction used by the White Tower. Whereas Elaine is able to run, skip, and jump and ride any dragon she wants around the rest of the world. I mean, she goes through a lot. I mean, she's only evades capture once out of the many times she is captured, so she still gets that gauntlet to go through. But she just has a vastly different life experience. It forces her, I think, to mature at a much higher rate. Because for me, Gawain's entire interaction with Egwene is the creepy high schooler enamored interaction, and that kind of knee-jerk reaction of I don't think I'll give my life for you. Let me put on all these rings and die.
No, literally, actually give my life for you.
Yeah, which
right
is
now.
the single best thing and only thing really of value that I think Gawain ever did in the entire series. Besides get the fuck away from Elaine. So I mean, yeah, I think they're the same up to a point. It's yeah, I don't want to rehash what I said. They just vastly different life experiences that to use part of what Badger has said allowed one person to achieve the vast majority of their character arc, and the other one to not I'm going to tweak it a little bit, to not really have an arc at all. So I don't know. Dan, you're up next.
Well, so what I'm sensing is in the very beginning of the Eye of the World, the theme that we're seeing is shelter, is isolation, is this kind of almost little xenophobia. And so the two rivers, no strangers come there. They're a part of Andor, but they're not really a part of Andor. And then when we first meet the royal twins there, where do we find them? Behind the palace walls. They're not out in the city. They are in their own shelter. I truly think that if they stayed where they were, you are very right. They are the same person. They have this very same focus. You are here to protect me, and I am here to ascend, and that's what it is. Once they split out, I kind of see his arc as being really pretty tragic. He's part of a group called the Younglings per se, where they are this. I mean, there's not, we have Elaine who is like, no, I'm going to get my own throne, I'm going to get my own, don't help me, I don't need your help, which is kind of weird. um uh, but we have this young man who is kind of trying to achieve his own potential, the way that he knows it from behind those walls that we saw him. And so the actions that we see him do are these dramatic, drastic, heroic, I am the first prince of the sword, and this is what I must do. I am your warder, and this is what I must do. I must do everything because I am the noble guy, because this is where he was. And Elaine kind of takes the same route with her, saying, no, you're not going to put me on the throne, I must get it myself. My twins, no, they're safe, I saw this vision. So there, or whatever, so there, we do have two stunted characters who are, to a certain degree, very, I would say, trying to break out of the mold in which they were shaped, but we don't see them until they're pretty much the same age as Rand. It's I don't know. I'm sorry if I'm rambling. I see
fine.
them as being equivalent. I see them as being raised pretty much the exact same way. I do see that once they split apart, there was this arc that Elaine was able to achieve that he was not, and based mostly on his own choices, I should say. But yeah, to me, his was the tragedy, while hers is kind of more the opposite of a tragedy per se.
Comedy? I don't think that's the
Journey.
opposite, but there you go. But go ahead. Is that it, Dan, or
Say again?
Kind of hard to read your puppet.
was that it?
Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Wait, no, dude, you're fine. Daniel, let's hear your thoughts.
So yeah, my thought is I'm actually going to throw out another unpopular opinion, not actually, and not so that for discussion and whatnot, but I actually don't dislike Gawain nearly as much as a lot of people do. It is really fun to shit on Gawain. But I don't actually think that he deserves nearly as much as the community dumps on him. Because again, two things that Josh said, and that others have said already, that I think are very, very fair, is both of them came from the same place and have a really ridiculously close upbringing as far as what they were taught and where they were taught it. And that made them both really stubborn, really egotistical, and really incapable of, or not incapable, but difficult to change. And the other thing is that we get so much less word time with Gawain than we do with Elaine. And so I think that Gawain gets the short end of the stick right from the beginning of the book, because in Andor, he has no capability of ascending to the throne. It is not even possible for him to do that. And he's also got this big brother who is better at everything than he is. So he is the quintessential middle child between someone who's really pretty and really good at stuff and a girl who's going to inherit everything. And so his purpose is so tied to Elaine that once he loses that, once she runs away from him, because again, she has her own purpose that she's following, but she doesn't really consider Gawain that much. He just completely loses all rudder. He is in the middle of a storm where he has lost his mother, he has lost his sister, he has lost his crown. I mean, he never actually really had one, but like again, he has lost his position in Andor. He has lost, backing of the Aes Sedai. He now realizes that he's a puppet. He's lost his warder master. He has lost just about everything in the span of a very small number of months. This is the one thing that really makes Elaine and Gawain super different characters, though, is that while they were brought up or the same, they deal with new information very differently. Because Gawain almost always goes, no, fuck you, what I know is right. Elaine almost always says, let me find out more about that and make an informed decision longer down the road than right now. And I think a lot of that, again, comes from the training that she has to be queen someday. Of snap decisions are a terrible idea, versus the training that Gawain has, which is on the battlefield, if you are incapable of making a snap decision, you're dead. And so I think that Gawain is just pushed into this situation where every decision he makes it in the spur of the moment and has a really hard time changing it. Whereas Elaine gets the benefit of really being able to mull things over. And while she is still stubborn and she makes dumb decisions and she makes ill-informed decisions, she usually goes back and fixes it or apologizes for it later or something along those lines. Whereas we don't really see that from Gawain.
Okay. Drew.
I disagree with Josh. This is not an unpopular opinion.
Ooh. Ooh.
Task failed successfully.
Thank you, Drew.
Yeah. No,
I respect you too.
Oh no.
Yeah, I mean that's my underhanded way of agreeing with you, obviously, but I guess to me, Elaine's a good support character. Like I enjoyed Elaine as a support. I enjoyed Elaine's role in Egwene's life, But I rarely enjoyed Elaine's point of view.
Big NPC energy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Gawain was a good extra for the first few scenes, and I agree with everything you guys have said about Gawain as a human. Like Gawain behaved exactly like you're saying, just like a real teenage boy going through these terrible circumstances, going from a very privileged upbringing, thrust through very confusing circumstances, exactly how he would behave. Makes total sense. The problem is, I don't read narratives I'm not engaged by the average human experience. I'm engaged by the exceptional human experience who embodies some kind of archetype that either, in the dramatic sense, comedically prevails or tragically fails. Either they show me a way through life or they show me a tragic, awful place not to go in life. Gawain doesn't do either of those. He just reminds me of how dumb I was when I was 16. And it's like, bro, I feel you. I was you. I don't want to be you, and I don't want any help being reminded of being you. So you're right. He is a psychologically appropriate human, but narratively, I didn't get anything from Gawain. I was kind of annoyed by a lot of Gawain's screen time. Not because he was unrealistic, but because he wasn't compelling. And Elaine, I enjoyed Elaine's arc up, I don't know, the first half of the series, and then I feel like the rest of her development was political, not personal. And that wasn't as engaging to me. So that's my take, Josh.
All right. And certainly not least, but last on this topic, Ryan.
All right, thanks. So I just want to be clear. I read this book a while ago, and we're on a reread, and we're in book 1, and we're in chapter 10. So I'm going a lot on memory, but I do have some impressions. I think that we when I first read Elaine, I think I was annoyed the entire time. But I feel like when I'm going to read through this again, I want to try and look at her through the lens of the Tavern pull more than the love story. She seems so obsessed with Rand and like her because we get so much of her perspective. If I maybe it'll feel less just um fat simple and kind of like a lovelorn if I kind of give it that perspective. So and I also just and I remember just really thinking Gawain was one of the most boring characters I've ever like. I hope he's I agree.
Well
Like
said.
it's fine. I like that you need to offset. Like every character can't be epic. Every character doesn't have to have a completed arc. Every character doesn't
Fair.
have to like just somehow like embody all the things we admire. And I do like that there are like flawed characters throughout the series, but just not that guy.
Fair. Well, it looks like Josh's internet decided that he didn't need to hear the last bit of our discussion on his topic, though.
Oh, bummer.
I imagine that as soon as it allows him to, he will be back. So if you're watching this and you see a weird camera flick that flickers on and off or something like that, please be understanding. We're trying to coordinate 8 people. So, but with that,
That's this many people.
yeah, that's that many.
That's very
Um,
impressive,
Hey.
Daniel.
I think it sounds like we can all agree that for the most part, for the most part, I'm going to say we don't really care for Galwin. And it seems like there was if nothing else, an understanding as to why the characters would at least seem incredibly similar. If we didn't agree that they were the same, I don't think it's something that can easily be that we should really vote on. Who agrees and who
I don't
disagrees.
necessarily think that's
Kind of a
binary.
mix.
That's definitely more of a spectrum.
Yeah. So
Very open response answer.
yeah. So the next opinion comes from Vance.
Right. So it's pretty simple. I hate the term Zen Rand. I hate that everyone throws it around because I feel it's a complete misconstruction of what Zen is about, and specifically what Buddhism is about. So that's just kind of why. Now, if they said he's Bodhisattva Rand, I would totally be on board with that. But they're not calling him Bodhisattva Rand. They're calling him Zen Enlightened Rand. And I'm like, I don't think Rand's really achieved enlightenment because he has no desire to pass on into nirvana and from existence. He wants to keep being reborn. So my hot take / unpopular opinion is that it's more correct to call Moradin Zen Moradin than it is to call Rand Zen Rand, because Moradin actually wants to escape the cycle of rebirth within the Wheel of Time.
Is
this a hope?
Yeah.
Babe?
It's not a pro Moradin
Dude, if you're
opinion. Well,
not a
maybe.
pro-
I don't know.
if you're
Ever
not
since
pro-Moradin,
uh,
did you even read the books?
I don't know.
Dude, Moradin
It's
did
hard for
nothing
me.
wrong.
I
Are you kidding
definitely.
me?
Morden
Yeah.
wanted to kill himself because of Gawain.
Oh.
Yeah,
But,
the only reason that he actually lets himself die is because he doesn't realize that Gawain's already gone.
It's like, oh wait, he went on a suicide thing. Okay, no, we're good. All right, shake hands. All right, thank you. All right, see you at brunch.
Oh, also, when I do die, I am going to need you to bail fire me, because otherwise I will be brought back, and it's going to be horrendous.
Right.
So yeah, that's just kind of my my hot take. Ever since I realized that about the character on my read through the series, I was like, I feel for him a little bit. Not to say he hasn't done terrible things, but you do kind of get the sense that this is a tortured person, and I think that makes him a compelling villain on top of that. So anyway, I'll go ahead and pass the baton.
All right, Badger, thoughts?
So I feel like I don't have a full understanding of like the deeper nature of Zen like you do, so I can't like fully talk about that. But at least from my understanding, part of it is sort of being at peace with your situation And I think that's definitely something that Rand comes to, at peace with the fact that he is tied to Lews Therin. He is Lews Therin. And then sort of at peace with the fact that you can't control everything around you. And I think Rand gets to that point as well, to where he's not saying, I need to drag everyone to the last battle and do this because it's my thing. It's more of an understanding of, I love all these people, and so it's something that I can do for them while I'm letting them, fight for themselves as well. That's all I got, so I'll pass it on, which is that quick thought.
Yeah. So for me, largely it would be a lot of the same. I don't have an in-depth understanding of Zen and Enlightenment, especially from the traditions that you've mentioned, Vance. Um, just don't. I mean, I've studied it very, very minimally. One semester of a college class that touches on it for like maybe 5 weeks, if even that, isn't enough to
fair.
understand just about
Right.
anything. But I mean, I think the motive behind it is a lot like Badger said. Somebody that comes to terms with their situation. There's a part where Rand is, once he understands that the prophecy seems to indicate that he's going to die. That he's like, I don't want to die, but I also don't want to channel, and I'm going crazy. Shut up, Lews Therin. I'm thinking here. And he resists that so much, and we see Rand for so long being the emo Rand, the stay away from me. I can't be close to anyone. I'm gonna die. Just leave me alone.
Tobey Maguire in Spider-Man
Yeah.
3.
Yeah, pretty much. So we get that for so long. So part of whenever Rand has his epiphany moment on Dragon Mount, standing on, as some people would call a Dick Mountain, and just being like, just having that moment where he's like, I shouldn't repeat the mistakes of the past, that it's so refreshing and seems like such an incredible 180 from what he was, that it's kind of like we want to say that he's enlightened, that he's Zen, that he's altogether and perfect, and he's not. I'm glad that Tobey Maguire has joined us. Welcome back, sir.
Yes.
No running over no running over paparazzi this time, or taking their camera, whatever it was he did. I can't remember, but it was funny. No, he just shouted at him, like telling him to get the F out the way. Anyway.
Danced a lot.
Oh yeah. But I would agree that by virtue of definition of the words and what they mean and what they entail, yeah, it's completely inaccurate, even from my little bit of an understanding. And I think it's one of those things that's a phrase that caught on because it captures the feeling and the thought of the readers as they're reading what happens, that in comparison, he seems like much more of a Zen character than he did previously. So I think that's that's not so much an agree or disagree, more of a trying to explain where the word came from or the phrase came from, I guess.
My favorite kind of topic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I would say that they, to that point, I'm not linguistically so in tune as far as what Zen itself means, but I would say that what people are referring to is maybe harmony or bliss or peace or serenity. That whatever we find, what emotion that we can call Rand, where and to be honest, when I think about the Buddhist, like sitting under or I'm sorry, the under the banyan tree or whatever, watching the river. It's that nirvana or that enlightenment kind of comes from the acceptance of what of the nature of things to a certain degree, and that's not too far from what I sense from Rand when he's walking away. He's kind of becoming just the happy hermit that's just going off into some cave to just collect his thoughts or something, and so that's probably where Zen comes from when we call it Zen Rand, but I think of it as just harmonious, I guess, or blissful, that sort of non-caring about things that we associate with being a Zen enlightened person, I suppose. But that's pretty much where I'm at. I don't know.
Yeah, I would actually agree mostly with what people have already been saying, but like just a little bit further on the take, is that mentally healed Rand just does not have the same ring to it. And that's what happened. He's just over himself. And
Rand.
He has become one with Luz Theron, which was always him. It's always been Luz Theron.
It's always been Wankershim.
but it's definitely again one of those things where I mean this is a little bit what we were talking about before of people will come up with easy names for things. And so they are attributing this Zen, which is absolutely a concept, though I will also say I am not incredibly familiar with it. I think I'm more familiar with it than a number of other people have said they are. But it is also really hard to pinpoint what enlightenment and serenity and nirvana and Zen actually fully is. And so it is definitely a concept of, if you go ask a Buddhist monk right now what getting to nirvana for you would look like, they would be like, I have no idea. I'm not you. So it is actually different for different people. And so I think that really, as far as Rand's situation, he does get as close to Zen, as close to nirvana as he could get to. And so I definitely, again, still think definitively you are absolutely right that Zen is not actually the right word for him, and that it's actually just non-Darth Rand, mentally healed,
right,
whatever.
Yeah.
And that he really has, it is accepting Rand. And that really isn't quite the same thing as Zen, but again, none of those roll off the tongue as well, none of those sound as nice, and so colloquially and connotatively, definitely, Zen Rand works, unless you're actually really talking about the definitive concept of what you're talking about. So I could not agree more. Stupid Americans are stupid, and that's a thing that's all over. It's not just America, but at the same time, like, again, people are going to misattribute words, and that is absolutely what has happened here.
All right.
That happens a lot.
All right, Drew.
And I'm back, by the way.
Oh yeah, welcome back.
Welcome back,
Josh. It's that boy.
We can resume the party.
We've been
everybody.
trashing you for like 20 minutes.
I believe it.
Yeah, it was great.
But yeah, Drew, what do you think?
I'm gonna get you, Daniel. If everyone doesn't know, my goal for this podcast is actually just to get Daniel to spit orange juice on his camera. That's my goal.
It'll
That's
be
the only
much
reason I'm
more
still here.
difficult because there's champagne in it. It's gonna ruin my computer.
I regret nothing.
Mimosas, look at this fancy pants.
Ooh.
Well, I got an industrial size sparkling wine bottle from
Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
he's got
larger
cups,
than your
guys.
face.
That's like bottom shelf right there.
Homemade endless mimosas like you would get out at a restaurant, but of course restaurants are closed because plague. And so we were having fun this morning and we didn't finish because people had things to do. So
that is the
I hate it when I don't
bow
finish
of bottles.
Both of those were really good. I liked both of those in tandem.
Unrelated to anything, does anyone feel like America 2020 is basically Hendersnap Village?
We just did an episode on that.
Oh, did you really? Oh, I gotta go see that.
Yeah, I listened to it. It was
Not
good.
specifically
nice.
that
It's good.
2020 is Hinderstap, but we did an episode on Hinderstap, and it was yeah.
That's gonna be
good.
another great horror episode on the TV show.
Ooh, I hope they terrify the hell out of that.
Oh yeah, this is gonna be a dark TV show if they're.
You guys are
faithful.
letting Drew just eat up his time so he doesn't have to respond.
No, okay. I actually have a substantive answer to Vance's comment.
Do you? Do you? I'm interested.
You have a substantive answer? I would not
Bring
ask
it.
that.
The roof is in the
Okay, so
pudding.
I 100% agree with Vance. My technical understanding of Zen is strictly from Vance, so that's probably why I agree with him. But I've always called, and to be clear, I'm talking about post Dragon Mount, pre last scene Rand. The Rand right in between those moments. I've always seen that as a Jesus Rand. And I don't mean that in a loose, like, I'm American, Jesus is he's Jesus kind of way. I literally mean in the sense that, I mean, for one thing, Jordan was not Presbyterian. Was he Methodist?
Episcopalian.
Episcopalian. Okay. So obviously he had a heavy Christian influence. Thank you, Josh. But Rand has been leveraging his own power up to this point. He's been trying to arrange things himself. And suddenly, after Dragon Mount, he goes where he feels the pattern is taking him. He, multiple times, literal miracles. Like, before his Ta'veren-ness, just randomly affected people's lives. After his moment, after Dragon Mount, his Ta'veren-ness specifically benefits people's lives. He has profound insight into people. There's a cool verse that calls in the Bible that calls Jesus the searcher of hearts. And then you have that scene where Rand literally lines up the Tyrian lords and just strolls down them, looking into their eyes and says, your time is over. Go. And it's literally like a Judas Iscariot, like, the time is now. Do what you need to do. I mean, so there are so many motifs that fit Christ more. And then when you take into account what Rand does is take upon himself responsibility for everyone else, even though he didn't need to, and go die for them. And so it's like, it's very Jesus-y imagery. There's a very clear Eastern influence, and I think that made it fresh. If it was just like Jesus in a fantasy setting, that'd be a little boring, because it's like we've seen that a lot of times. So there are a lot of Eastern influences, but I would say the core essence of what's happening, the way Rand relies upon a power larger than him to take him where he needs to be, to accomplish what needs to happen around him. All of that's very Christian influence. So anyway, I don't trivially call him Jesus Rand. And I think that's more fitting. Like I think Vance is right. Zen Rand is misappropriated.
He is a Jesus figure, though, too. So there is that to take into account.
Yeah.
His blood spilled on the rock. I mean, that's like, hello.
Yeah.
Brands on
Right. I mean, yeah. All that imagery there is very intentional, I feel.
Can we
on
play
Jordan's
a game
part.
on our next YouTuber panel where we just do trivia, where it's, is this the Bible or is this Wheel of Time?
Would you like to play a game?
All right, Ryan, your thoughts?
Well, I just want to say that I do actually agree that Zen Rand is inappropriate, and you are correct that Bodhisattva Rand is more appropriate. A Bodhisattva is someone who's attained the ability. So a Bodhisattva, there's Zen Buddhism and Mahayana Buddhism and Theravada Buddhism. Mahayana Buddhism is where we get nirvana, and nirvana is released from everything. And a Bodhisattva is someone who could be in nirvana but chooses to stay amongst the people to help relieve suffering from the people. So that's absolutely correct. I do disagree, though, that Zen is equated to Morden. I think that's maybe like a misinterpretation of Zen itself. Zen is not necessarily about the release. It's not about the absence of desire. It's more about like the release of the ego and like working on dualities and different things like that. So I'm half agreeing with you.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah, Zen is the.
We should discuss this at another time.
Nirvana is the release.
Oh,
I'm just kidding. That was
hey,
a joke.
hey,
I promise.
Release.
Yeah.
Well, since
it was a joke, but it actually worked kind of well.
Well, since we have you back, Ryan, does that complete your thoughts?
Yeah.
So Josh,
so if I
thank you
can
very much for that lesson, because I
Let me
didn't actually
see-
know all of that. So thanks.
Let me see if I can surmise the unpopular opinion. The term Zen Rand Is that the unpopular opinion?
Roughly.
But in
yeah,
more
it would help
technical
if we told you
terms.
what the unpopular opinion was, since you had
Yeah, he
technical
wasn't
So-
here at the time.
And I will give a caveat of I believe we're splitting hairs a bit, which is kind of what we're doing with the show. So
I
I'm
mean,
gonna split them as
what are we
thin
here
as I
for
can.
if not to split them, right?
So when you talk about Zen, Rand, you talk about the state of Zen is the state of oneness, the state of losing the barrier between yourself and what is around you. And Rand, when he makes his transition into Zen Rand, they immediately have these like beautiful scenes of everybody like, I won't unload the barges because the grain is spoiled. And Rand is like, oh, really? Let me look. Oh, not only is it not spoiled, it's fat, thick grains that are nutritious, high in amino acids. Then there's like the apple orchard scene, where he's like, oh, look at these trees. They are no longer withered. They are apples. And I think
why is he Stewie Griffin after he comes
Don't
down from
you
the
I know, right?
interrupt me when I'm pontificating.
Brian.
Brian. No, but
God damn it, Stewie, you're eating hair pie.
I feel like Rand. I guess I'm going to disagree. I guess I'm going to say I think Zen is an accurate descriptor, because what you see is that where Rand is concerned, where Rand is reflecting his sort of mental state. He is now thriving as the Dragon Reborn. He has finally accepted who he is, what he is to do fully, and that acceptance is now transcending into the physical world, into the pattern around him. And everywhere he goes, the pattern is correcting itself from the Dark One's touch due to his presence. So I feel like that term, and when you talk about Zen and oneness and being one with the surroundings around you, I feel like that's appropriate because you've got the physical world around Rand manifesting its health and happiness because of his presence and superior oneness with the pattern.
All right.
I like it.
Nice.
Good points all around, everybody.
This-
You've definitely all given me more stuff to think about in this this ongoing discussion / argument I have with the community. So
It almost sounds
I will
like
think on it
Adam,
and
that's why
come
we're
back
here.
later.
it almost sounds like at a minimum everybody agreed that it's that the name itself is not accurate.
Except for Josh.
Except for Josh.
Yeah, well, except for Josh. There's
Now, I
always
will
one
admit
more.
it is an easy shortcut, though. So,
Yeah,
and
I don't have
I
an
am
issue with
splitting
it.
hairs.
And also,
I am splitting hairs with it, just so we are all clear. that
I just like
I'm
the
literally
idea
nitpicking.
Of, Firelord Ozai just being up on Dragon Mount and just knocking Rand into a rock and just unlocking all of his chakras, just all at the same time, and then he just walks around and all these good things happen. It's great.
So everyone, Avatar: The Last Airbender spoilers up through season 3, but not for Legend of Korra. Just so we're
Fireload.
clear.
Damn
All
it,
right.
Daniel!
So on to the next.
We're a Wheel of Time podcast. I don't care about spoilers for other series.
That's fair. So, Badger, it's your turn to be released on the green, because saying release yourself on the green sounds weird.
Don't release yourself on the green. The women's circle will not be happy with you.
Yeah, bro.
But secretly, they're going to be very pleased.
So I thought about going with Min, or my opinion, Min has more agency than Avienda in the series, but I decided instead to go with a kind of opinion I've been forming recently, especially on the audiobook reread, that Perrin is worse than Fail. I've always disliked Fail since the first time I read the series, and I think almost everyone does. She's probably either the least popular character, or maybe Gawain's less popular. It's one of the two. But she always
Damn it,
comes off
she's trying.
petty and immature. But the more times I reread and also discuss with other people, I don't really think she's that bad. Fael. I think it's mostly because we perceive her through Perrin's point of view. So we see things through Perrin's eyes. He smells her jealousy. He smells her other emotions. Then he tries to make her feel better without her having done anything, and she gets angry at him. And we empathize with Perrin because it's his point of view. So recently, I've been kind of getting more mad at Perrin for not thinking it through. He knows he can smell emotions, but he doesn't really think about what might be the deeper cause of them. So he ends up hurting Fael. But that's not my biggest gripe with Perrin or better thing with Fael. So Perrin and Fael have really different customs, and that's something that Perrin decided he wanted when he married her. But he refuses to adjust his way of life to her customs. He figures out for himself that she likes being yelled at, and Elias also tells him, but he just refuses to do it because he doesn't think that fits kind of the way he wants to be a man, and he doesn't think it's how women should be treated and how they should act. But by doing that, and he sort of knows this, he's making Fael feel weak and unempowered. So, by the way, I have major issues with the Saldean customs, and I wouldn't defend Fael. But there's a point that Perrin signs up for this. He signed up for it, and so he either needs to move on from her or accept some change and do what Fael wants. Really the biggest gripe with Perrin that kind of leads into is that he refuses to learn about other cultures around him. He's supposedly a caring leader, and he is of the Two Rivers people, but in terms of cultures, like, definitely not. He doesn't know anything about Saldea or its customs, despite spending all of his time for months with Fael. And he also spends an enormous amount of time with his best friend Gaul, but could he tell you anything about Giotto or Aiel customs? Heck no. He doesn't know or care about them at all. Fael, on the other hand, not only learns about them, but is so trustworthy and kind of good friends and close with Bane and Shia that they teach her hand talk, which I think she's the only character in the series to learn any hand talk from any maidens. And that's really cool.
One of two. Elaine,
One of
as
two.
the first
Okay.
sister of Avienda, also actually gets taught.
Oh, okay, right.
It's very, very little, and it's specifically
Cheating
sad
there.
that it's very, very, very little. But she does also get taught a little bit.
Okay.
And we
Yeah,
decided
so-
Elaine's an NPC. So.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
As a protagonist in the story, Fael is the only one who knows her.
Yes, as an antagonist, you're right. Fael is the only one.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, so I definitely think Fael deserves some of the crap that she gets from the fan base, but Perrin just has his head buried in the sand the entire time and deliberately chooses to not even make an effort to do any better. And I won't get into like the fact that he just dodges his leadership for so long, but that's another issue that I have with him. Whereas Fael kind of tries to embrace that at one point or at some point and moves forward, whereas Perrin he frustrates me so much. So I think Perrin's the worst character than Fael. That's my unpopular opinion.
All right. Well,
Some pent up rage there.
It's not unpopular.
Oh!
It's actually incredibly
No.
unpopular, both within the
really?
fandom and within these 8 people right here, and we'll get to it. No,
you might be surprised by some of the answers you hear, Daniel.
Well,
Because
start us
I am
off,
going. Yeah, I am. I'm gonna absolutely agree. In that lens, yeah. Now, as a character, I like Perrin a lot more than I like Fael. I do think Fael gets some unjust discuss because she is the subject of Winter's Heartgate. I hate snow, and I don't even live in snow because of Fael. So there might be some misplaced dissatisfaction and anger there that just finds its way into Fael. I mean, and then like you said, we see everything through the view of Perrin, who is frequently frustrated with her, and not saying she's not childish because she is a child, and she is childish, but we see it all through Perrin. I wouldn't go so far as to say that Perrin absolutely and outright refuses to adapt to her customs and cultures. I mean, I'm a very big proponent of relationships should be 50-50. So if the only thing that gets your rocks off and gets the falls flowing is the person you're married to yelling at you, then you still agree to marry them as well. And you know they're from a very, very different culture, that you don't do that. Well, not for that purpose. And you do it in private. Well, which I think for the most part they do. But anyway, but yeah, Perrin has some serious shortfalls because, yeah, he smells jealousy and says, "Oh, I need to do things to keep her from not being jealous." But Berline's boobs are everywhere I go, and there's nothing he can really do about it.
What do you do about that?
I mean, sometimes you just gotta pretend they're not there, I guess.
The BBs.
Yeah, but
they're DDs at least. Come on.
Hopefully.
yeah.
This is quickly turning into a different argument.
Yeah, but I mean, he doesn't think far enough through about it, and which stereotypically at least is an issue that a lot of like newly discovered couples, once they get past the honeymoon phase, and newly married couples, once they get past their honeymoon phase, kind of do the same thing. You don't think about things enough, and we see Fael for a while. She kind of like tolerates it because she doesn't understand why, but she can tell that obviously Perrin somehow knows that she's upset and stuff, and eventually we see her use it for her own advantage. But yeah, he doesn't think through it enough. Okay, she's jealous. Why is she jealous? But she's not acting like she's jealous, but I can smell it. Well, then maybe don't fucking say anything about it, because she's not showing her jealousy because she's trying to be nice for you. So yeah, I would absolutely agree. He does have an apparent proclivity for refusing to do the things that he needs to do, such as learn cultures, be a leader, take up that mantle, and stop going emo over Hopper and the fact that you might start to like your axe. So yeah, short thing. I know I've talked longer than I intended to anyway, but yeah, I'd agree. Through that lens, Perrin is a far worse character than Fael. Dan.
Well, to your point, I pretty much agree exactly with what you were saying. What we have is young love, right? We hear that Perrin is, I guess, could talk all slickly with the ladies, according to Rand, but we don't actually see any sort of relationship until Fael. Fael's younger than he is. And I think that for the most part, she handles things in a somewhat mature manner. But Perrin has the benefit or curse, be that as you view it, of being able to smell her emotions. So let's say that you're a boss and someone comes in and goes, "Hey, I got those quarterly reports," and puts them on your desk. And this person didn't do anything, but you are able to smell jealousy, resentment. They smell like they think that you failed upwards, whatever. They don't like your car. You're smelling all kinds of things, and all this person did was just bring the quarterly reports. But we're hearing all this negative stuff because we're in Perrin's head. And so when we hear that Fael is jealous and is hiding things, she's not hiding things. She's being mature. She's maintaining her emotions. She just doesn't have the benefit of not having a boyfriend who can smell all this stuff on her. And so I think if we take away the smells, if we take away Perrin's his commentary on her feelings, instead of us just being able to gauge who she is from what we are reading and what we are seeing, if we take Perrin away from that filter, I think we have a pretty likable character. It's just that because she is become like the Yoko Ono of the Edmondsfield boys, and it's like, oh yeah, John Lennon's just tying knots over in the corner instead of doing music and stuff. We're seeing. I like Fael. I think that she is treated dirty. And I don't know if I think that she is a better person. I don't know if I can equate it on there, but I certainly think that she has been kicked in the mud based on her view through Perrin's nose.
Daniel?
I
View through the nose.
No, it was really good. I liked
What
that.
they say, the nose is the window to the soul.
So I literally could not disagree with this statement any more than I actually do. I think that Perrin is not a great character. Sorry, that's not true. I think Perrin is a great character. I don't think that Perrin is a great person. I think that Perrin has a laundry list of faults that actually make him a relatively bad hero. To the point of He is no longer a reluctant hero. He is a problematically reluctant hero. But at the same time, I really do have to give him credit where credit is due. He stands there from day one and says, I don't want this. And people pile expectations on him like no one's business. It is completely fair that he doesn't want to be the leader of Emond's Field. He has no desire to do that. And he keeps on telling them that. But Fael goes around behind his back and says, Lord Perrin wants you to do this. And Lord Perrin is doing all of this stuff on your behalf. And Lord Perrin is the leader of the Two Rivers. And he's like, what in the ever-loving fuck? I said no. And so, like, again, I don't necessarily think that Fael is garbage. I definitely don't. But I don't think that people do her dirty at all, because she is not mature. She is absolutely someone who made an agreement to be in a relationship with a man and absolutely refuses to go ahead and give him an opinion and refuses to give him a say in his own life. And she walks around behind him and manipulates the fuck out of everyone that is around him and everything that he does. And that is completely unfair to do to the other person. Now, again, let me be very clear here. Perrin does not meet her as far as he should. I absolutely think that he should do more to learn about Zaldea. I absolutely think that he should do more to give her what she wants, both in the bedroom and out. All of that different stuff. I absolutely agree that Perrin is pretty stubborn. But Perrin starts that way and finishes that way. And I don't think it's a trait that he necessarily needed to change. I think it's one that she tries to make him change unfairly. That is my take on Perrin and Fael.
All right, Ryan.
Well, I think Fael and Perrin should be judged differently because they're undergoing different metamorphoses, and so Perrin is literally leveling up and gaining abilities he doesn't freaking want. He doesn't want the So I'm trying to imagine you suddenly get a sixth sense, and you now have to make sense of that while also doing this, doing that, figuring out the dream world, figuring out, I talk to wolves. He is going through what is close to a schizophrenic breakdown, and yet we still want him to be able to manage Fael, who is like a Spitfire chaos agent in his life. So I don't agree with you at all. I love Perrin. I think Fael is. I think you're right. Everyone's right that she's given a bad rap, and the idea that we see her viewpoint through his nose is all accurate, but still everything you just said about how she does him wrong and manipulates things behind his back, that's hard to watch too. And so you can't look at her and she's not going through a transformation, she's just a person. We got a demigod. So yeah, I think we got to give Perrin a break. He's going through a hard time, and it's if any other situation, we would just kind of let him lie down for a couple months, maybe do some finger painting, journal a little bit.
Belly a little bit.
Yeah. Perrin needs to journal it out.
Who's a good boy?
Oh, why you got to dog me like that? Just kidding. All right, yeah. So that's my take.
All right. Well, Josh's technical difficulties, like Pat and Fane does, have returned just when you think they're gone.
Right.
So, Drew, let's hear you next, because I didn't mean to skip over you.
I don't get my rebuttal?
Huh?
Oh, no worries.
Did
I was
Drew
going to
get
take
skipped
it.
over?
Man,
So loaded.
I'm tempted to say Fael did nothing wrong, but Daniel, no, you're right, Daniel. Man, this is 2 in a row. She's so manipulative.
Mm-hmm.
But what does she have to work with? I kind of enjoyed Perrin. He can talk to wolves. That's pretty cool.
Oh, he's a wet blanket.
Then do what?
He's a wet blanket. I totally agree, Drew. Look at what she had to work with. He's totally a wet blanket. In public situations, he's garbage.
God,
Okay, wait. Okay, so there's subtleties here. Plot wise,
Sure.
Perrin's a protagonist who is not protagging. Like, he's not doing anything. And I'm so tired of your navel gazing. You can talk to ferocious pack predators. You're cool, bro. Belly up. Let's do some stuff. I don't care if you didn't pick this. It picked you. Deal. Like, that's how I felt so much with Perrin. So, I mean, I get where Fael's coming from. I think pragmatically, Fael saw that she has a huge influx of refugees among Emond's fielders, a very almost untenable situation with a catastrophic attack of horror monsters coming on. And she's like, all right, something's got to move. And so she's doing what she can. You know, but honestly, when a relationship is not working, there are no good or bad guys. People are just trying to deal. You know, and so it's like, and I think Jordan was channeling some experience of how hard communication in a relationship is with them, because I can relate to Perrin in that if you're kind of an introverted thinker, it's like, all right, put your thought in to the gumball machine, give it a few cranks, and wait like 10 minutes, and I swear something relevant will come out. But not right now. You know, and it's like the more you demand right now, the longer it's going to be for anything meaningful to come out. And that's totally Perrin's character and Fael's misunderstanding of him. You know, and Perrin's misunderstanding of Fael. You know, and so culturally, did they kind of miss each other? Yeah, definitely. I think Fael was doing more to meet Perrin than Perrin was doing to meet Fael. But as a Southern American man, I can get that. Like, if my wife was like, I want you to yell at me. I'm like,
My mom would kill me.
It's like,
Yeah.
do you know what would happen to me if my dad were in the house and I did that? Like, he'd have to be dead to not knock me off my feet. So, I mean, culture, and obviously the Two Rivers is very, you know, I don't want to say conservative. That's too political. It's very reserved, you know, very almost puritanical in that sense. Mm-hmm. So of course Perrin has that kind of feeling about how to speak to Fael. So I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's ever fair to make good guys and bad guys in a relationship when communication is involved, because it's just hard. Like, and you don't know you're not speaking the same language as someone else. So you're just totally baffled why they're not understanding what you're saying, you know? And so I think there was a lot of that going on. I think a lot of it would have been fixed if Perrin would belly up and deal and do some things. Anyway, that's my thoughts.
Just heard a very digitized doggo.
Totally.
Yep, that was.
But yeah, wow, I really like the discussion on that one. Thanks, Badger.
Well, we still got Vance.
That was a really...
Good, Badger.
We still got
I
Vance.
haven't gone yet.
We what?
Vance.
He forgot about me. Oh my god.
I mean, Daniel might have, but I didn't.
Sorry, Drew and I are just so on the same wavelength that I only care about his opinion, Vince.
Oh yeah, I'm
It's a
sure.
one-on-one.
Wow.
Well, you keep changing his mind.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess I'm gonna open mine up with Perrin and Fael hit a little close to home for me because I'm in an intercultural marriage. My wife is from South Korea. I'm from the southern U.S. So there was some. Yeah, of course. Yeah. They're both South.
Yeah.
So,
Respectively.
Right. Anyway, so there was there was a learning curve in our relationship, both before and after we got married. And I definitely see that reflected in Perrin and Fael. Just want to say that out there. Now, that said, I do agree with Badger that Fael does get done a little bit dirty by everyone because we don't have as much screen time with her. We have 90% of her entire time in the books through Perrin's eyes. So there's that. It's all from his perspective. I do think that occasionally she displays some hallmarks of maturity over Perrin, but that's only in the terms of things like leadership, running a camp, management of all of these responsibilities that they've taken up. Perrin's not good at all that. He's not good at being a leader necessarily without someone to drive him. He doesn't really want to move on into taking on the responsibility that, from his perspective, is being piled on him against his will. I disagree, though, Daniel, that Fail's going around behind Perrin's back and doing everything she can to make him the leader that he eventually becomes. I think some of what's happening here is Taviran nature. I think part of Perrin's Taviran nature is that people are drawn to him as a leader, and that he cannot help but attract all of these people and refugees to him due to his Taviran nature. And I think that also drives Fail to do everything she can to make him the leader he needs to become for these people, if that makes any sense.
It does. It does. I disagree with you, but you make sense.
Well, anyway, that's what we can all disagree and still have a good conversation, right?
We read two different books, and that's okay.
Damn.
Exactly. That's the beauty of the books, right?
No, I agree.
So,
Hey, in the book I read,
other than that,
nothing wrong.
Dude, I'm not kidding you. There is part of me that absolutely wishes that Perrin and Berelain had just gotten together so that Fael wasn't... that they weren't in a relationship. Not because I don't think that they love each other, not because I don't think that there's, like, really good pieces of it, but holy shit. Perrin would make such a good house husband to Berelain. And why did we not get Perrin the house husband? Oh my god.
Get rid of the Golden Eyes nickname. Perrin the house husband.
Someone mute Daniel.
Here we go. He's on a roll today.
Hey, keep going, Vance.
I was just going to say that other than that, I kind of, agree, disagree with everyone else's various points. So, like 50-50 on it. But, those are what I just said were my main points. So we can go ahead and wrap up and kind of move on.
Nice.
All right. All right. Well, we're only about halfway through all of our panelists here. Well, not about halfway through. We are literally halfway through. And for ease of editing, ease of viewing / listening, all that wonderful stuff, and the fact that Josh's internet / computer / life decided to quit at the moment. He's fine. His life didn't quit. He's alive. His wife hasn't killed him yet. We're going to take and make this into at least a two-parter thing. So we're going to end part 1 here. But with that, we'll take some time to get any kind of final thoughts, all the fun niceties of ending an episode and all that fantastic stuff. And we're going to start with the Gleemen.
All right. Yeah. So final thoughts from me. Enjoyed everyone's unpopular opinions who got to go today. So that was this is good fun. I'll hand that over to Drew. Let him say his piece on that.
Yeah, these are great. I love y'all's insights, and actually, I like this octuple perspective on all of these different things. I'm impressed at how much actually comes out. So, yeah, check out the Gleemen this week.
Feel free.
Where
Plug
can
your
we
stuff.
find the Gleemen if we wanted to go and check them out?
So you can
At
find
your
us on YouTube. well, yes, at your local inn, of course.
Okay, see you then.
Yep. So you can find us on YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. Everything is at the Gleemen. That's men plural, not man. Just so you are aware.
M-I-N?
M-E-N. Hashtag men is not a sexy lamp.
Ooh, that's close to fighting words right there.
Ooh, no, I'm literally trying to stir the pot.
You just did. it
Oh, I'm
has been
sure.
stirred. It's like if it was macaroni, it'd just be like,
Go ahead and cut that feed real quick.
Yeah, just go ahead and you remove me from the entire discussion.
you just found a way to edit yourself out of an entire episode. It's weird.
All these dead spots. All
Did
right.
Vance get Balefire himself?
All right, Badger. It's your turn.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to say that I really enjoyed doing this, and I can't wait to listen back to it later because it's definitely been a lot of fun. And like you guys said, a lot of really great different opinions on all these topics. So and I can't wait to do the second half and see what else we have in store for the other unpopular opinions. I'm gonna say I think mine was the most unpopular / best, but that's just how it goes. My YouTube channel though is called The Badger Reborn. I have, like I said earlier, different kinds of videos. I had a pretty controversial one recently about my theory that Min could be a dark friend. And then my most recent one was just a video about why I love the Wheel of Time and kind of going into those main points. So if you haven't checked out my channel, that'd be a good one to start with. But yeah, really enjoyed
Twitter?
being here.
Awesome.
That's a very good one.
Do you have a Twitter?
I do, yeah. I also have a Twitter. I don't know what my name is. I think it's just Badger Reborn without the on Twitter. But yeah, also kind of do Wheel of Time stuff there. I just finished a quote tournament, which was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. So dope.
And then Patreon, also the Badger Reborn.
Yeah. All right. Way of the Leaf.
All right. First off, Badger, your Min as a dark friend theory is one of my favorite. The transformation of Min. Yeah, that's a great one.
Thanks.
So yeah, so we are the Way of the Leaf. We are a YouTube channel and a podcast. Our show is called The Leafcast. It is half of it is a spoiler-free show where we have a recap led by my brother Dan, and then we have a first-time reader chat, and then we do something called Tavern Talk, and that's basically a free-for-all chat discussion. We're gonna have guests. We do live streaming, so basically you can find us on YouTube, and that'd be the best. Oh, and also on Discord too. Find our Discord.
Yeah, and I want to say for this has been awesome. For unpopular opinions, there's been a shocking lack of Rotten Tomatoes being thrown at people. I was imagining fruit and vegetables being hurled all over the place, and there hasn't been any. So you guys are gentlemen and scholars.
No, you.
I know you are, but what am I?
A puppet.
Thank you, Black Tower Podcast, for having us on. This is great.
thank
You
you,
guys
guys.
are awesome.
Many thanks.
Thanks, guys.
My final thought is definitely going to be a huge thank you to you guys. It is not easy to schedule 8 people to go ahead and talk about this particular topic together, and you guys have made it as painless as it could possibly go. So thank you so much for being willing, being able, and putting in the work to make this happen. Also, again, I just want to reiterate, we chose a topic that, again, could have easily turned into shouting matches, into you're wrong and I hate you like situations. But all of you guys have been super civil and awesome and very honest, but also very logical and all of the things that make a discussion good. And so thank you so much for being all of those things. And I literally only had fun tonight. So
Right on.
Sweet.
Part 2.
Well, for the Black
Yeah.
Tower, if you happen to be listening or hearing this somewhere else, because the video and the audio, of course, is going to be available to everybody here to use on your own platform. So it's not just us getting like a podcast episode out of it, because if that was the case, why are we doing video? But y'all have that to the guys. Y'all all have that to do what you will with, to use as much or as little of it as you wish, in relatively whatever fashion and form you want. Well, not relatively. You can do whatever you want. I don't care. I just hope it works out for you. But if you're, I don't think you can make us look too worse than we make ourselves look already. From time to
there are
time.
pictures of me disconnected on the internet, and those are already pretty bad. So you know.
I'm gonna edit out every good argument against me.
Hey man, go for it. But so we are.
I
win.
was literally knee-jerk reaction gonna make a political joke against you, and then I was like, "That's stupid. There are 8 of us. The likelihood of that going over well is very low." So I stopped myself.
Right.
So
Discretion is
That was a
sign
good
of
choice.
maturity.
You're
On the
brilliant.
parent-to-Fael maturity spectrum, yes.
Yeah.
so again,
Over.
we are.
That's where I am. Over.
Over. Boobs. Boobs. Boobs.
This is in the Bear Lane sect of the relationship. So Josh,
You thought I
Daniel,
wanted Perrin and Barreling to get together for them? No, that was for me.
Yeah.
So Josh, Daniel, and I, we make up the Black Tower podcast in its current iteration. We do podcast on Wheel of Time topics that sometimes may only spoil a very small portion of one book, but very oftentimes spoil things from the entire series. We just wanted to be able to talk about whatever we wanted to talk about from the series, and that's what we do. Definitely not. I wouldn't say you would classify us as a PG family-friendly podcast. I'm pretty sure they start to use the things like crude humor,
Irreverent.
vague sexual imagery, though you don't. It's not like shown. Just imagery in your head, like D&D, stuff like that. Dirty mouth, taint, that kind of stuff. It is what it is. We're not for everyone, but if those kind of things don't bother you, then we may have yet another podcast for you to listen to in addition to all the other ones you listen to when you're not watching YouTube videos from the fantastic people that are here. My wrist won't turn the right way, so yeah, there we go. From all these lovely folks. So that's what we do. You can find us on Twitter at Tower Podcast. You can email us at blacktowerpod@gmail.com. You can find us on our hosting platform at blacktowerpod.podbean.com. That also has links to our Twitter, our YouTube channel that is mostly still images with the podcast on it, but there's some live streams, and this video will be on there. You can also get a hold of our Patreon, our merch store, all that kind of stuff. Anything that you want to find out about Black Tower Podcast, you can find through that link to our hosting site. I don't know, did I miss anything? Oh, we have an event in October called the Gathering Madness in Ogden, Utah, from the 16th through the 18th. So if you can be there, because unlike most events you go to, you don't have to hand us money at the door to get in.
It's true.
Just your soul.
Hey.
Yep.
And take a cup of wine.
Yep.
Don't worry about the weird things floating in the bottom. It's fine.
It's tenants.
Yeah, there
Yeah.
we go.
Tenants or
Tangents.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's the spices and the spice wine.
Cannons.
That's all it is. Flakes of cinnamon.
Mulled wine.
I don't know what else would go into spiced wine.
Paprika,
Mole.
Mull. That's
myrrh,
perfect.
A little bit of
frankincense.
Parmesan cheese.
If you're really rich, you get to do gold flakes. It's just gold Schlager wine.
Yeah. We just pour a shot
Okay,
of
this is the
Goldschlager
point
with the
where I
flakes.
remind you the Romans sweetened their wine with lead acetate.
Ooh.
Remind me. How about tell me for the first time ever?
Awful idea.
Ooh.
They
What does that
didn't
taste like?
know.
It tastes sweet.
Can I remind you about the meaning of life?
Can I remind you that
What?
until
Tell me
relatively
first.
recently we put asbestos in our ceilings?
Oh yeah.
Just
popcorn.
saying, we
Well,
haven't
it says-
learned since Rome.
Yeah,
We
it's-
haven't learned.
Best is in the word.
It is best.
It is.
Yeah.
But
But that's
thank
gonna
you
round
again.
us out here. Make sure you go subscribe and follow to all these guys. Yeah. Make sure you go subscribe to these guys on YouTube, follow them on Twitter, and any other platform you can find them at. If they have Discords, go join them. If you can't find them in the Discord, there's so many Wheel of Time Discords that someone will be able to direct you in the right way. Really, the only way to not find these guys is to not try hard enough. Pretty
Correct.
simple.
But thank you again,
yeah.
guys. Thank you so much for being here. All of everyone. This collaboration, it would not have been possible without all of you. And as I have stated a number of times, but we'll say again, it was super fun, at least for me personally. And I really hope that you guys enjoyed yourselves. But I think that is going to, as Andrew said, round us out for the episode. So Everybody have a wonderful good morning to you all, and in case we don't see you again, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.